Hello, Army. Hey. Woo-hoo.
Hey.
Uncle, my loves. And we are coming to you live with our very last show of day 2 of Still With You, 10 Years of Wellness with Bangtan. You are live here with the Living 17. Whoops, somebody's feed is very noisy. Can you guys check it for me?
Huh. They muted, I think.
Miss Tiffany, she got it.
You got
Yeah.
it? All right, my dear. Yeah, it happens. It's been like we were talking about the poltergeist. Now my New York accent's coming out. The poltergeists that are in the computer internet, because I just realized that it's Festa, so therefore 50 million people are toggling all over the internet today for
True. Oh, yeah.
Festa. I was like, oh yeah, that's probably why we're having a bit of struggle.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Army Borahe, and welcome. I am Nisha, and I am the CEO and the owner and founder of Living Bangtan 7. And our parent is Diversity Geek, diversitygeek.org, and we are a mental wellness organization and research organization that promotes mental wellness through our fandom passions. And as part of our proof of concept, I developed a program on the healing messages of Bangtan Sonyadan, presented the research last year. And from there, we created something called Living Bangtan 7, which we launched in December. And Living Bangtan 7 is a platform from DG that was created to bring you wellness discussions, content, and musings based on the healing, positive messages of Bangtan Sonyadan, our lives. The name literally means living bulletproof 24/7. And our purpose is to help us all learn how to live confidently with self love now throughout the day, protected by the support and the love of BTS and Army. We wanted that LB7, as we call it lovingly, would be a reminder of the power that the bulletproof or Bangtan philosophy has as a source of healing, healthy coping, and support when we are struggling to believe in ourselves. Army, Borahe, and how are we doing today? Welcome back, my loves. Welcome, everybody. So I do this. There we go. No, still wrong way. This way, this way, this way.
All right.
I don't know my left and right, so you got to know that. Even though there's a whole song about it, I still don't know it. I love when you get my jokes, Terry. I just adore it.
That was a good one.
Well, it gets even more complicated when you have screens and mirrors involved. So,
Yeah. I have the craziest sense of humor, but you have to really keep up with it because it's quite dry sometimes. So I'm a dad joker, just like Jin, straight up. Total dad joke.
All right.
That's the
Total. That's my guy. So why don't we go ahead and introduce? Let's start with Joanna.
Hi everyone, Bora Hey. My name is Joanna Tupas. I am a speaker, author, coach. I am the founder and chief advocate of School in a Backpack. School in a Backpack really focuses on raising a generation that is courageous. So we have what we call the Courage Project, and what better way to talk more about this than matching it with the awesome, courageous boys called Bangtan 7, like their life literally from day one all the way to 10 years now we're celebrating. It's all because of their courage getting out there, and really the messages that they give us, like fighting, and being bulletproof. So we're hoping that we have a generation that is more courageous, and I'm really thankful for the messages that our boys give out there. So I do have a book coming out. It's called Not All Who Wander Are Lost. It's launching in August. And if you read, one of the chapters there is solely focused on the lyrics of the boys, amygdala, and all our healing from all our trauma, and just being courageous. So I'm really glad to be here. I'm so glad to celebrate with everyone, all the armies all around the world. For
And then can we have Dakota and Anastasias introduce yourself?
Yeah, we're in Seattle, and I got very frustrated. I'd been trying to get the BTS being played on the radio anywhere in Seattle, and I finally decided that I would do a show myself. And it started as a frustrated joke and then blew into actually becoming that, because I was connected to a lot of people in radio and had been for many years because of previous jobs and activities. And our idea originally was just that we would have a BTS expert, and my daughter and I are both Army. So she was the BTS expert. And then we had the straight guy that was radio that didn't know anything about it. So we used that to be able to educate people about BTS. And the show was based on being able to get them on there. But we faced crazy rules. And the two of us had to basically deal with that. And that's why we're here. We're here to basically talk about some of what we went through with that. And
BTS is...
And they're...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm Dakota, and I'm one of the hosts of the radio show. And
Nemesis.
Yeah. And there you
I created the show.
We've been Army for 5.5 years since 2017, and they've always been like such an inspiration. And we felt like it was wrong that they weren't being played on the radio. It was, I mean, like with how amazing they are, they should have been on the radio already. And
this brought up questions about why they weren't being played on the radio.
Yeah. And
we knew that BLM was going on, and there were a lot of protests happening. And this meant a lot to me, and it seemed like the right moment to try to address the fact that they were not being played. And we're at a nonprofit educational radio station that does broadcast worldwide through the streaming, as well as in Seattle on air. But that was something that was offered to be able to try to do. And here in the United States, we can only play 4 tracks from any artist within 3 hours, and only 3 tracks from any release. So this meant that our show could not be strictly BTS. So the reason our show has many artists originally was because I wanted to fluff it out with giving other artists from the same region the same opportunity, and even ones from here. So that's basically why I did it.
But BTS was our main motivation, because we wanted to feature them and be able to get them the radio play that they deserved.
Because they were the most popular group in the entire world, and they were making so many of us so much healthier as human beings, and practically saving people's lives. In fact, literally saving people's lives, because they had such a generous spirit. And I wanted everyone to be able to enjoy it and be able to at least be exposed to it in a way that can be reached from anywhere. And so that was what inspired our being able to do that. And we did a full 4 times a year. I do something called Army Hour that is strictly BTS content. And for this week, we did Festa. We have a full hour of BTS. We'll be running that tomorrow night from 11 till 12 in Seattle, and it streams worldwide.
Is that on PM? Just to clarify?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we want to do a live watch with it. So it means we'd host a live watch party while you have it live.
That
Yeah.
would be fabulous.
That'd be
So
amazing.
I won't be available but because I'm traveling, but the team is going to be working on getting that done for you.
That's
So,
awesome.
That's so cool.
And we post things live during it on Twitter. We tweet the whole show.
So what we'll do is, you can open it as a Twitter space, and then everyone can join you for that. That way, all of our global army who's been with us the whole time. I'm sorry, this is me.
No, it's okay.
But
We love
actually,
networking.
it would actually allow all of our army, which are very global, to be able to listen in as well. And then hopefully you'd be able to post the link, and hopefully they can get on. So why don't, Terry Roselli and Flora can help to facilitate that. Flora's
Yeah,
not here
we'll talk
now,
about
but
it for sure.
absolutely. Well, that's what We Never Walk Alone is about. So that's what this show is for. It's for this.
Yeah,
Our connection.
I agree.
Yes.
And then Tiffany, are you able to toggle in and give us a little hello?
I am. Hello, everyone. Good evening or good afternoon, wherever in the world you are. My name is Tiffany. I am a 2019 Army. Will forever be salty because I was almost a 2017 Army and didn't hop on. So still a little bit salty about that. But I am a pediatrician by trade. I work a little bit both in the outpatient and the inpatient sides. I love using BTS to help connect with my patients. It's always fun. We get to have a little freak out in the exam room when you see someone coming in their Army. But my background is actually in music. That's what I studied in college. And so that's
really cool.
partially one of the reasons why I love BTS so much. I love kind of doing deep dives into their music and the lyrics, and especially with some of the newer pieces that have come out, especially like the Take Two. And so that's me.
Awesome.
Yay! I forgot that both you and I actually started out as musicians. I totally forgot that. Look at that. I knew I liked you, girl. You're also the admin though for BAMU. You want to tell them a little bit about that?
I am. I am the head admin for the medical academics portion of the BTS Medical Army Union, which is a Twitter page developed dedicated to med ed. And so I handle the academics portion of it. And so kind of focusing on medical school and nursing school topics, a lot of anatomy, a lot of physiology. Always fun to kind of break down some BTS topics. I love doing some anatomy posts. The boys have been very generous over the last few months. So lots of good content coming up.
I mean, it all started with Jin in his back. That's all it took, and that's it. No, just kidding. That was actually very informative. Thank you so much, my friend. I'm glad to finally be able to be on a show with you at the same time.
I am very glad to finally be on as well.
I know. And then Miss Terry Roselli, who's just been my charm, helping us to keep things working.
Thank you, Nisha. You know what? This has been such a wonderful experience. Just an awesome way to spend Festa. So hi, everybody. Hello, Army. My name is Terry Roselli, and I am the admin for BTS Atlas Army, which is a smaller, more intimate group. And then I also own the K-pop on the Olympic Peninsula page, and we host about 20,000 people on that page. I love everything that BTS stands for. I love the fact that I'm 63, and this is actually, I feel like it's my take two right now. To be able to spend time with people who understand that there is healing in the music of BTS. And it's funny because how they bring us all together, because I'm a life coach certified through the Southwest Institute of Healing Arts. And to know that all of us are here in a capacity of healing and recognizing it and hoping that everybody else can be aware is such an awesome message for us to be here for. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, I'm so happy also that you brought in that, because this is a very healing environment between music, medicine. It's so crazy that we both are applied behavioral scientists, and then I'm also neuropsychiatry in medicine. It's just interesting how everything works, and you and Joanna are both coaches, life coaches in self, so an intentional self. I'm like, the team always comes together in a way that there's just no way, like it all is just, there's a perfection to everything that happens. So Pro showing you lots of love, Anastasia and Dakota.
Oh.
We listened, by the way. We were listening to your show. We had it live going on, just so you know.
Oh, that's so cool. Thank you.
We're doing it, so thank you so much. So excited to have you. See our family saying hi. So I'm going to actually let Tiffany, are you good to go ahead and lead out questions for me? They're in.
Yeah.
Or do you want me to start and then you go, whatever you want? I'm good to go.
I can go ahead and start. That will not be a problem.
Okay.
And so, kind of like we were talking out sort of backstage, sort of the first question starting with is just focusing on how BTS has been such an incredibly unifying force for social emotional connections, and just a sense of togetherness and unity that really kind of crosses country borders, it crosses gender, it crosses race, it crosses culture. And so I'm just curious to kind of hear your thoughts and input as to sort of, how BTS has been a unifying force in your life.
Who would like to start?
Well, I could. I basically, for me, at a personal level, listening to their music, definitely, I mean, I have the typical story that you hear where, I mean, I was writing a book basically about gender identity. And I was going through a lot of things in my personal life that had nothing to do with that were making it very difficult. And so I was probably struggling with a great deal of depression. And when I found BTS, I'd been a dancer and a singer and a performer most of my life. So I could totally relate to them. And I didn't speak Korean, although I've been trying to learn Korean. But it didn't matter because their music transcends everything. I mean, you can feel what their message is. And as I got deeper into it, I realized that there were really reasons that why the vibration really healed people. And I realized as I got to know ARMY was out there, just how impacting it was and how many people were involved. And there's all these stereotypes about who's listening. You picture in the United States, they say that it's young girls. And the thing is, there is no defining. I mean, at Wi-Fi, if you looked at the crowd, they were from all SoFi. I mean, sorry, they were like from all over the world. The people had flown in because, of course, since they were isolated incidences of them showing up because of the pandemic, we had people coming from all over the world there, all ages, all races, and it didn't matter. We were all ARMY, and we were all like waiting outside. People were singing. It was amazing.
At the Permission to Dance.
Yeah, Permission to Dance.
We went to the last one.
Yes, and Chris was there. Chris Martin. It was really amazing.
It was an amazing show, and it was amazing to see. I mean, we'd gone to one previous concert, but it was just so amazing to see what a variety of people. There's always such a variety of ARMY showing up to the concerts.
And Rose Bowl was amazing also, with how many people were there. And we brought Drew, the other host. He's the stiff guy that doesn't really know K-pop. He was so skeptical about what we were going to be running into. He'd never seen them live. He wasn't real familiar with the music. He was very moved. He was very moved. It shows how someone who is completely outside of it and not really receptive is affected. And he couldn't believe that the entire stadium that was packed was singing Korean. These are Americans. They said, we can't do that. Why do they think Americans cannot sing in Korean? I have no idea. But it really spoke to how unifying it was. And it was a night of just, I mean, the guy in front of us, it was like, V, I love you. You know, I mean, and you know, V's all like, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, I mean, it's there are no, you know, borders between the ARMY and BTS, and being able to see that kind of generous love that is colorblind and sexual preference blind and so embracing of all identities is something that you don't see anywhere, but you see it at a BTS concert, or any content that you see out there is really directed to ARMY in
such a welcoming and safe community.
It is, and not judgmental. It's very accepting of individual identity. So anyway, that's my contribution. Anybody else want to jump in?
I like the word that you used there, transcend. It's their songs truly transcend language barriers and like cultural barriers, even countries. Their way to unify is really because they're creating these safe spaces for each person. And it's because you see it so naturally oozing out of them. They don't call I know they call each other the members, but really, naturally they treat each others as brothers,
Yeah.
They're family.
It's like family.
family. They're like they're my family. They they actually say it out loud, and knowing just how they treat each other, like, hyung, and like, they use these words of respect, which is, from their culture, but that they treat each other as families, as brothers, that way for them to use those words, makes it feel like they are in themselves creating safe spaces,
Yeah.
and if they're able to do that, that's why it transcends to us through their music, I think, because we feel safe with them.
They're really authentic.
Exactly, yeah. And I was just gonna say, it's truly genuine and sincere. The kind of personality that they have.
And they aren't afraid to be themselves. I mean, it's obviously not marketed. There's so many funny moments. I mean, part of the reason we relate to them is because they're so human and so mortal, and it's so like relatable. I mean, we can relate to their frustrations and their silly little games that go on. I mean, Run BTS is so fun.
Yeah.
I
Just
mean,
the funniest.
whoever forgets? Yeah, exactly. And it's like in those really human moments, like Jimin throwing a fit at a mall. I mean, it's just like,
that,
and it's like, and Jin being able to just easily walk through things and being able to do stuff, but the other guys have a harder time. I mean, these are all things that are not even explained, but we all know. I mean, it's like they never insult their audience with having to explain any of it. You don't have to, because you totally relate. That's you out there. You can understand what they're doing.
Yeah, they're really just themselves, and I think one of the songs by Suga, People,
Yeah.
I really love how the lyrics, especially when you translate it, sometimes we are our own worst judge. We judge ourselves more, you know, strongly than, other people judge us, or like their opinion of us.
Yeah.
We are our worst judge, and like when he was saying, like, am I a good person, am I a bad person, there's so many ways of judging, but let's not forget, that people change, and those kinds of lyrics, they make you feel safe, because
Yeah.
it's the message, and you can use their messages to help create safe spaces around you. I'm an educator, and it's really important for me to, like, when I get into a classroom, not only the students are safe, my colleagues are safe, but the families that I work with are safe. And and I work with special education, and so when I look at a student, you have to really go beyond all of these, like, whatever's written there, or what's on their paper, and just see them as people and love them as people. And that's how BTS sees us as ARMY, and it's beautiful. And that's why we all feel safe. So whenever we, like, gather in, like, concerts and stuff, or we line up with our tents and everything, it feels like a safe area right there, because we're amongst ARMY. So I think that's my answer for this.
I think that part of their message also is that it's about soft power. My favorite song is Louder Than Bombs. And it's about the influence you can quietly have on being able to bring about health and unity, and it being possible through doing something other than something conflict-based and divisive. It is so important to see the commonality and to be able to understand that doing these more gentle things that, are inclusive will really bring about the results you're looking for, and that it is powerful, that it can have more influence than doing something loud and raucous and divisive. And their message is really about that.
What a term you use, soft power. That's an interesting term.
Well,
and
when
that
you
really
look,
struck me when you said it.
Yeah, well, that's what they refer to it. I mean, that's what Louder Than Bombs is about, is basically that they're basically singing to the world had more influence than all of the political strong-arming that's going on. I mean, there's a reason they were at the UN. It is because there was more turnout from the young people on the globe, because they were there because they trust them. They're not going to hurt them or lie to them. They know them.
Yep.
And The fact that that actually brought people to the table, now we can talk.
Yes.
I mean, that's soft power.
President Moon was very aware of his decision to give them cultural ambassadorship. He was very aware.
That was smart.
It was a very strongly empowered move in terms of cultural shifting, to be able to attenuate, or to be able to attach the breathing message of Bangtan with a cultural moire, which at the time, not everyone understood the climate or the culture of Korea. And President Moon said, what I'm going to do is show you that we are represented by these 7 human beings who are humble and honest, and care at such a level that they are the ambassadors for the UN, that they are ambassadors for ending violence, that everything that they are ambassadors for is about wellness and about healthfulness and caring. That is soft power. That's literally exactly that. So what the paper that we wrote that I'm working on, which all of this is part of the dynamic of, is how the collective connective dynamic of btsarmy is a dynamic engine for improving and actualizing the SDGs. It's a big old title, but it's a title about our power being so large and so quiet. You ever heard of speak quietly and carry a large stick kind of thing? That's us. We're very quiet people. But when we need to be loud, be prepared for that loudness.
Oh yeah.
That's what Louder Than Bombs is. You got it. You got it straight up. They're like, that's why the lines change with each one, with each of the verses too. So sorry, I'm toggling back and forth, and I'm sorry I interjected.
Oh, no need for apology. Thanks.
Armies are power. Yes.
Yes.
And no, Joanna, that was such a lovely point you made, sort of about just like with Army being such a safe space, being at the concert, and then you got all these thousands of people there, but it feels so safe and so small and so intimate. And one thing that has always amazed me is just the ability that I have had to connect with other Army members. I'm naturally very much an introvert, and I don't make friends very easily. But when I'm in with other Army, or I see someone else who, has like their Koya tag, or they have like their Jungkook Pop socket on their phone, just how easy it is to start talking to them, and how many new friends I have made just by turning around and going, "Are you Army?" And how much more diverse and how much more broad my friend group has become because of that.
Well, I totally feel the same way.
She's also an introvert.
I'm very much an introvert, and and being a fan of being a part of Army, and doing this radio show, and just being a part of Army, and the ability to like instantly connect with someone over something that I love so much, and have just so many wonderful people. It's allowed me to curate such like a wonderful little space for myself on the internet. And I feel like the internet is sometimes not so nice, and it's really great that I feel like it's a really nice space for me to be in. And I'm not the most outgoing, but my friends in Army are some of my favorite people ever. So I totally feel what you're saying.
Yeah, some of my closest friends now their friendship has been made and developed because we were mutual Army, and we met because we were Army.
Yeah, exactly.
See how that works? See, it's amazing how it works. It really, truly is. And the other part of that is the fact that when we all decided that we were going to go to either SoFi or we were going to go to Allegiant, wherever the show was happening at, it was a thing because there was no strangers there. None of us knew a stranger there, right? And to be able to go someplace where you feel uncomfortable, you're traveling by yourself, you're going to meet people in person that you have never met before in person, but you know them because of the online relationships that are formed because of BTS. You know, staying up for 3 hours and talking about, all of the different, flower, all those kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
And it makes your heart feel so good, and to fall asleep in that feeling is just so nice. It's just a really nice place to be. So for all of us to be able to physically meet now, because now I think everybody, I know that the Atlas group, we are planning Festa 2024 in Dallas. So
That's so
right?
cool.
So, that's already, we've already discussed it. It's already in the works, and we're starting to move on that. And we want to make it so that everybody who wants to be there can. So I can't really see any other fandoms doing this, and how BTS has been able to localize us seriously, in a serious way, to where, we are in our own bubble. And I am perfectly fine with that. I'm fine in the BTS bubble.
Well, I think Americans were really like starving for that. I mean, at the end of the day, human beings are social, and we have a very anemic culture when it comes to having really meaningful relationships. So having this unifying and healing music source, and these boys that were so authentic and willing to share their own growth actually gave an avenue for a lot of people who are already probably skilled enough to be able to do these things to come together. It gave a reason. And I mean, I think we were all longing for that.
Yes.
Starving for it.
I can remember my sister and I, my sister's army as well, and flying out to SoFi that December. And we were at the gate, and you could see like all these other people around, and you knew they were armies. Like you could just tell, and some of them had, you could see their light sticks, and some of them they were in shirts and stuff. And then we got on the plane, and almost the entire plane was full of armies, and just being able to sit down in the row and going, "Hey, how are you? I know you." I'm still friends with people I met on the plane. And we still talk. And it is just amazing just how much that message and that sort of unifying presence creates connections, and how with that connection you're able to expand out. And so we connected through BTS, but then we have our friendship has grown so much more through other things that we found that we like. And so just sort of that unfolding through BTS.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and with SoFi, we made a point of going there because we knew our listeners, a lot of them were unable to get tickets. There were only so many of them. And so we did live talk breaks from the show where you could hear the crowd, and we were there to try to bring it to them. And then I played a set that reflected the most poignant things that were happening while we were there. Because, I mean, I'm aware that everybody wanted to be part of it. And I know that that's part of the thing. Some of us end up networking it because not everybody can actually make it. Maybe you're physically unable to. Maybe you just were not close enough to the front of the line to get the tickets. But whatever it was, I want everyone to be able to feel like they're still participating and still there.
That's awesome. I was one of those.
Yeah.
I think it's also kind of cool, like how I know that we want to protect our boys, and like we could. I don't want to say selfish about it, because we're really not armies. Just want to like be more generous, because we want more people to embrace them.
Yeah. Pay it forward. Yeah.
So like, oh my gosh, and there's more people now from different genres of music and different professions, and like I see a lot of people who are starting to react because they're drawn by the music, and how much army would support them to keep understanding our voice, and then they'll just automatically be sucked in like all of us, and they'll go down the rabbit hole, and they'll just fall in love. It's so natural. So I don't think like we want to protect them, but we don't want to protect in a negative way where we're pushing back. We're more like inclusive, like, come here, listen to this, this is what it's about, so we're expanding that safe space because we're having more people come into it, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted, Nisha.
Sorry, I know, because I'm so sorry. I'm working while on the social media side at the same time. That's the growing dynamic of Army that we talked about in the music session we just had. How the connective force. It's literally this dynamic force, which you two know because you're literally creating that force and sending it out into the world with your music, with what you're doing with the music. That the way that it literally goes out, like there's this beautiful, almost spiritual vibe, and the world feels it, and the people who need it will feel that thing, and that thing creates that connection, that electrical connection. Neuroplasticity in the brain works this way. It's a real thing. That dynamic, I think, is the thing that we have excelled at, and it's not reproducible, right? There is no other fandom, I believe, that has the capacity to do what we're doing, because we did it so organically. Plus, we're changing constantly. Who we were 7 years ago is not who we were 5 years ago, and certainly not who we are now. It's
true.
That's the grace of it. As we grow, we grow. It's a twofold path of growth. That's. I just wanted to jump in on that comment. So.
I think the only fandom I could really compare it to was the phenomena that happened with the Beatles. Really, it's funny because one of the roommates upstairs were playing the Beatles today, and I realized just listening to the content, a lot of it had to do with people's ethics and their inner beliefs and connection to life, and it had more to it than a lot of the more commercial music that's out there. I mean, you could feel it; it resonates with you, and it's so funny because it's very much personally handwritten music, and you can tell. And the way that it was done was very sincere. I think you practically have to go back to them to even find anything really comparable as a global phenomena.
That's a good comparison for sure. It certainly is.
But with all the tech now and being able to be so connected, Army is a whole new phenomena. This is like the fact that it exists and that we have a relationship with BTS like this could never happen back then.
They really treasure Army.
They do.
And they're like, okay, so I think what Beatles, and it's hard to compare because it's years ago. It's more of like the success and the achievements that's comparable. But what I really love about BTS and their message is because their message is so real. It's like you said, it's transcendent. Music is like a tool to get these messages across. And so that's why they're more than just like a band or like a boy band, or they're ambassadors, they're spokes, they're invited to the White House, they're invited to the UN. It's because their message is real and authentic, and it resonates with each and every Army. There's at least one song, and you can't say it's just one because there's
so many
of songs that makes you just like, okay, I'm in it for a long haul. I want to hear more. What do you have to say? And I really want to understand it because I can relate to it and it's real. So
I still feel that.
I see that there's someone that was asking about how to apply the music to being able to heal. And I have to say that I think that when you're dealing with music from BTS, it's really about realizing that they're not afraid to face the truth about themselves and about life. And that it's okay, that they're going to survive because they have each other. And that because they're able to have each other and to be able to love the world and still see the beauty in it, that they are able to explore it still and to be able to exist and do the creativity to reach out and touch all of us and help us to heal as well. So for a person who would be listening, I think a lot of it is just about realizing that they need to live out loud. They need to really embrace
Speak yourself.
themselves. Yes.
Speak yourself.
And share
Mhm.
themselves, because when you give yourself, others give back to you. And that's where connection happens.
Mm-hmm.
And when people are feeling alone, when you're with Army, you don't feel alone. I mean, you may still feel it in your life, but you know that there are people you can relate to who are going through it too. And you aren't alone in your loneliness.
And I think
That's
and I
true.
think- And I think one thing about BTS is they've never been afraid to wear their heart on their musical sleeve, so to speak. Because yes, they've got some wonderfully peppy songs that are sort of, get up and wake up in the morning, but some of their songs are just so raw. And one of my friends and I always joke, got a mood, BTS has a song for it. But
like Tear, I love Tear.
Yes.
Or wailing.
Yeah.
And just, that ability that no matter where you are in terms of mood and your place in life, you can definitely find a song which has some content or just the musical flow of it that relates to that mood.
Mm-hmm. And I think, one of the things that strikes me the most, and this is speaking from an older woman, there was a lot of decisions that I made that I regret the decision coming from the standpoint of a fear-based thought process.
Yeah.
So when I look at these young men who are just doing it afraid, right? They're out there, they're doing it. And what an example for anybody else who has any kind of dream or passion. I mean, look at all the opportunity that they have had to let something smack them down and just be like, and we've seen bands like this. We've watched them come up and then go, right? So to see these young men who are, and I don't understand it, but geez, give me some of it, because that thing that they've got, right? That thing of, you know what? Here's the guidelines for living your life without fear, with love, with hope, all of it, embodying all of it. And so when I think of them, I think of how they are fearless, and God, that makes me feel like I can be fearless too. If they can do it, I can too. And I'm an old lady, you know what I mean? So it's that whole thing, and watching them do this, it's like, okay, what am I afraid of now? Because it can't be anything like performing in a stadium with, I don't know, 75,000 people, right? That's crazy. That's crazy cool that they can
It
do
is. Well, I didn't expect to be starting a radio show when I'm in my mid 50s, headed towards 60. I really, when people actually figure out what generation I'm from, and I came from the alternative community, they're kind of like, huh? How did that happen? But the thing is that they helped me to survive. And I know some of that is probably, if you look at the history of what's happened with their country and with their social structure, they're resilient and they know what matters. That at the end of the day, love of self and valuing the people around you that are important to you and living life, at the end of the day, you have to throw all in. And that you need to be responsible for it. It's you that needs to go out and do it. So they've been a real motivator for a lot. And they don't think, they're not about feeling sorry for themselves, but they're realistic about what they're up against.
That's surprising, don't you think? Don't you think that's surprising that they're realistic and instead of backing off, they are like full steam. I'm all in. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
That's the whole thing about speak yourself and facing it.
I think in one of the they guested in one of the shows in England, and Aaron was talking about, you have to accept that you have shadows. You have the light, but you're gonna have the shadow. It's always gonna be there. And then I remember Armin and Shiga was talking about the song Blood, Sweat, and Tears in one of the press conferences. And Shiga was saying that, like, okay, this song, and I love their songs because it has so many meanings. It's so deep and you can take it one way or the other. But he was saying, like, this song, we wrote it to convey that you have to have an optimistic determination to use your internal wings so that you can go far, even if there's hardships or temptations, that you can go far, and it's okay. It's okay. And it's so, even those kind of dark songs that they put out there, Black Swan, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, it just, and even Lilith, this new song with Halsey, the lyrics that Suga put out there, it's all about, like, let go of the negativity, let go of the toxicity, make the change. There's always this positive statement that they're trying to interject in their lyrics, and it's really just beautiful.
Yeah.
That intense emotion and really dealing with all of that, I think, also fuels the artistry. I think a lot of it, it gives you the meat of that whole process, is the energy behind a lot of that growing and healing for artists. One of the things that a lot of people don't necessarily realize is that Dakota is also a fan artist, and it's helped her work through a lot of her issues and her shyness. Basically, her art in the fandom is part of how she got to know a lot of ARMY.
Yeah.
And
yes,
she actually has a couple of pictures. Do you want us to hold them up so you can see them?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And we have a project coming up for Army Fam Day, so I think we can just add you to the team for that.
That would be awesome. She would love that.
That would be so cool.
So
Who
the
do you
thing
guys
about
want to see?
the DG family and the Living Bangtan's family, as you now know, we are about creating endless networks and connections from one to the next to the next to the next. We believe in, how the boys had to make the dominoes after 777 and they had to say BTS. For us, it's like that domino effect is a constant state of, we just move in one to the next to the next. We're just so lucky in that our message and our intention is so, it's just what it is. I hope everyone can feel that we do this from pure and absolute love. Pure and absolute love.
Totally.
There is nothing but that for everyone at all times. I remember listening the song that you were just saying, also from Wings. Jin wrote Awake, and if Awake is
played that not too far back.
And it's a physical handshake to that other song you talked about there, Joanna, because in that song, people have the man's profound. Okay, he is saying, "Listen, I know that I may not have the wings." It's literally the handshake to the other song. I can't fly like the flower petals over there, or as though I have wings. Yeah, maybe I do, but maybe those wings are never going to get me to touch the sky the way that I need to. But you need to know that I'm still reaching out. I still want to run. I want to get somewhere. I want to get somewhere more. I want to be the full person that I need to be. And I need to believe in that person in the same way I want you to believe in me the same way. That was what a concept to say.
That's so cool.
That is amazing.
To think for Jin, to get to a place where he was able to physically, having been suppressed for so long, say, look, I'm letting you know that I'm asking you to be here with me. Asking you to recognize that I am trying to find myself. I am trying to awaken that part of myself and show it. And I want to fly. And maybe I'm just struggling to fly. Isn't that the same message that they're giving to Army throughout the world on a regular basis? Whether it is Louder Than Bombs or Run BTS, it's the same. Indelibly the strong same foundation. Yep.
And we saw him reach it with Epiphany.
Yes.
He had that moment, which and I think being able to see someone do it is part of being able to see yourself do it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Dakota, let's see what you got.
Yeah.
We're excited to see what you got here.
I've seen pulled up a couple.
I just pulled up a couple. So I've got one of Jimin. I don't know if you can see it very well. It's Jimin from Serendipity Inspired.
Nice.
And one from Butter, that's Jungkook.
Oh,
I'm literally
love that
screaming
one.
over here.
Aw.
Oh
I got
yeah, well, we all know
Jungkook
this one.
from
Oh my
the-
God, Dimple and Pied Piper. Wait.
Excuse me, Dakota,
The
how many
Idol?
do you have? Because we have so many Jungkook loves on here.
I've got more, but
J-Hope.
I got J-Hope. I got some J-Hope.
May I see my love? Oh, thank you so much.
Wow, that's
Oh my
gorgeous.
God.
Oh my God,
I
girl.
was in love
Okay,
with that
wait.
picture.
Can I claim that one?
Dibs.
Please.
I'd
thank
love a sugar, please.
Do you
No,
take
no.
commission?
I'm not kidding. I want to claim that one.
I-
Okay.
It depends on the commission, but sometimes, yeah.
She does.
No.
She does sell some of these when people ask her. It's just that a lot of times it's like people don't realize that they can do that.
Yeah.
And here's
Of course
I
they
got-
can.
I got a
We'll be
more
talking
recent.
after this.
No, this is
Oh my goodness.
This is
Dakota.
it's a lot of what we do. We as from the DG side, we've
this is
connected
one of my favorites.
artists across the world from MCU to DC to Star Wars. We've worked in people commissionable artists now for 7 years, helping to connect them to
Wow.
projects. So it's not we're not just Bangtan. Bangtan is just my heart and my soul. But we've actually worked and done
we're Red Fox Gallery, actually. I mean, that's
Okay.
part of what we were doing to try to get her work up. But I've been doing the radio show so much, there hasn't really been time. Oh, could
we'll
you
talk.
show them
We'll meet. We'll talk. We have a huge
Yes,
project.
definitely.
That'd be amazing.
Going for
Huge
show them
project.
that one.
Okay.
So-
And you have somebody down here in the chat that's saying they want to claim the JK.
I know.
Here's another
okay,
one.
okay.
This is him blonde.
This was from when he was when he'd first gotten his blonde hair.
Oh my God, girl! I need to know your medium.
Right?
It
looks a lot
That's
better than that.
beautiful.
I use Procreate.
Yeah, she does digital art, but she also does there's the most gorgeous pencil drawing of Tay that she did for his birthday. That is just beautiful. And she did it in a tablet, not like a paper tablet,
A sketchbook.
a sketchbook.
All right, my loves. I am
Good.
so sorry. We do have to get to closing now.
Okay.
I apologize. It was a great. No, this is a lot of fun. I really want to continue.
It really was.
Do me a favor, and you're more than welcome to jump on the last shows tomorrow that we're closing up the show with. It's actually a game, but the show before that is the strangest way of approaching our love for Bangtan. We're taking the concept of "calm down, my daughter,"
Yeah.
and we're taking it into a different context of how they are a leading source of calm and stress reduction in our life, because we are a wellness organization. So we are ending with that particular concept, so that we're gifting Army our self-care prompts that we've created for them to continue in the next year. So
Awesome.
we have that last show, and then that will be the end. Woohoo! Not the end. It'll be just the beginning.
Yeah.
It is never the end. It will
Never.
never be the end.
Never the end.
It was never
Anytime
the end.
forever.
Bangtan forever. Apo Bangpo. Bangtan forever. Army forever. Apo Bangpo. Woo!
Yes.
All right, my loves. We're gonna actually sing "Happy Birthday." Y'all ready to do
I'm
this?
gonna try.
On 3. Everyone is singing with me.
Yeah.
Ready?
Are we saying
On 3.
BTS? Bangtan?
Yes, we are. Bangtan,
Okay,
Bangtan.
Bangtan, Bangtan. Okay.
Bangtan, Bangtan. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Teishuka
Hamida.
Teishuka
Hamida.
Happy birthday, my love. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to everyone. And look forward to us with our last few shows tomorrow. I cannot believe it is the end of day 2. It has been another very emotional day for us. We brought you some content today that I think has been mind-blowing. It has been mind-blowing, and everyone who's been with us, and we do still have us. I think we have our special guest coming with us tomorrow. I don't want to say till it happens, But I want to thank all of you for being here, and please stay connected to us and stay tuned for our Army Day event, which we will be hosting in July 9th for Army's birthday. It's going to be a very big day. We're going to do one day, but it's a big day. So we have 2 big projects around it. Remember, Army, to send us in your written, artistic, or video of how Bangtan has been a leading source of healing for you over these 10 days. And remember, we're going to be making the montages and the collages from that. And that's something we're hoping to give to them for Army Day. So, Borhe Army, love you so much. Apo Bangpo. Everyone. Thank you so much.
Yes.